Well, my first guitar I made in 1973, just as a student in high school. We had a woodworking class, and so there I made my first guitar, and then my second guitar, and my third guitar. And after that, I found a job at a local custom shop. A lot of hippies working there, you know, making guitars for people who live in our neighborhood. Yeah. And then one day, the man who owned this small workshop, he wanted to sell. He wanted to leave, so my partner, Kurt Listug, now we're partners 43 years, him and me together, we paid him some $3,000, took over the rent of the place, and we started Taylor Guitars, making one guitar, selling it to a person, making another guitar, selling it to a person. Luthier. Yeah, luthier. I'm a guitar maker. But yeah, my partner's a businessman. We were very young. I was 19 years of age. He was 21. He liked the sales, the business, finance, these things, and I like the factory, the guitar building, right? I have to answer the question more than one way. The main secret behind Taylor Guitar's success is my partnership with my partner. That's the secret for me, because I know people who have a guitar shop and they don't have a good partner to do something else, or maybe both of them are luthiers. This is a nightmare when you have two luthiers in business together, right? But he could build one part of the company while I could build another part of the company. So this is what I see as Taylor Guitars, the company. We had manufacturing and administration both with someone helping to grow it. Now, once that part's done, the secret to the guitars is always the quest to do two things. One is improve the guitar all the time, always improve the guitar, and always improve the process. Because when I made guitars in the beginning, the process was very crude. You couldn't really depend. If you have a great skill, you can make one guitar with your hands, with your skill, you're a good luthier. But then when you try to make more and you hire some people, it comes apart. You have poor quality. So when I was young making guitars, every day I would spend one day, 8 hours making guitars, and then I would spend 8 hours making tools. So I worked 2 days every day. 8 hours making guitars, 8 hours making tools. 8 in guitars, 8 in tools. And then each time I made a guitar, it became a little more easy to get the guitar made.
So you have multitasking.
You have to improve the process and improve the guitar. We're still improving the guitar today. We have all new bracing. You know, steel string guitars have an X brace, but we're leaving the X brace behind. We have new interior for our guitars that we introduce at this show that works better, makes a better guitar, sounds better, sounds way better, has more projection, more in tune. The harmonies are beautiful, louder, more sustained. All of this by improving the guitar. And of course, the process for this is not so easy, so we have a way to always make the tools to make guitars. Make mini guitars. I'll say be prolific, which means you have to practice, and you practice by doing it. It's okay for your guitars to get better and better and better and better. You don't have to make the best guitar the first time. I have a saying that anything that's worth doing is worth doing poorly or badly. And that's the opposite of another saying, because most people say, if you're going to do it well. But I'm saying, if it's worth doing, it's okay to do it bad. Just don't do it bad every time. But I think too many people wait to become good. but you only become good through practice. So make as many guitars as you can make. Make one, sell it, make a new one, sell it, and always think of how you can improve that. You can learn a lot from the fault. And I also see people freeze. They stop because they go, oh, this isn't good enough, and so then they stop. Keep going, make a guitar. What's the best guitar you make? The one I'm going to make tomorrow. Well, I already chose him, Andy Powers. Yeah. If you look in our guitars, now Andy is signing the labels, and I'm not. Because he's, in my opinion, he's the best guitar maker I've ever met in my life. And I found him 6 years ago, and he came to Taylor. He's young, so he's only 35, and he's making all the designs that we're doing now. And he's incredible. He's very, very talented. He has it deep inside him how to do this. Because he started when he was very young, 8 years old, making his first instruments and studying and reading and practicing. So he can make classical guitars, mandolins, archtop guitars, electric guitars, steel string guitars. He's very expert at that. He's special, very special person. And so he's my favorite guitar builder there is. And he's all mine. Ricky Scaggs, who's a country artist in the United States. I love his playing. Right now he plays mandolin more than guitars, but I've always felt that would be great. Another person that I would love to see my guitar, but if he wanted to, I would not allow it. And that's James Taylor. I think James Taylor, American artist. Do you know James Taylor?
Very well.
I believe he invented a new way to play guitar back in the 1970s. Nobody played like him. Nobody can. However, he plays an Olson guitar made by a very good friend of mine, James Olson, and they're very nice guitars. And even if James wanted to play a Taylor, I'm like, no, you play Olson. I can't steal my friend's guitar, but I would love if he's someone who doesn't play my guitars that I would love to see. I'm sure there are more that I can't think of right then, but those two come to mind. We don't use endorsing. There's not one advertisement ever in all of our history showing a famous person playing a Taylor guitar. Not even one. So I think endorsements I think knowing that famous people play your guitars and you've been able to see them playing is very, very important. And we work with artists. We have a great artist relations department. But for us to make formal endorsements, all I want is a relationship where I help somebody play music. So if somebody famous is playing our guitars, I think that's very, very, very important. But I always like to have that relationship be a real relationship between me and that person. For example, maybe the most famous person who plays a Taylor right now in the world would be Taylor Swift, right? But I've known Taylor since she was 12 years old, and she sat on a stool in our booth playing to 6 people, right? And so that relationship is a real relationship, you see. And our main goal is for us to help artists play, and we love that people see those people play our guitars. But also, I love when you go to someone's house and they open their case and they play a Taylor. I love that just as much. When your friend plays a Taylor, maybe one day you'll play a Taylor. Yeah. Oh, that's been big changes. When I first started building guitars, you had old companies that had made guitars, not really very many new companies. And a person played acoustic guitar or they played electric guitar. They didn't play both. And if they played acoustic guitar, they played on the first 5 frets. They didn't play up here. And so when we started making guitars that were easy to play, one thing that happened, for the first 10 years of our life, our main customers was electric guitar players. not acoustic players. Because acoustic guitars already had, they had Martins and Gibsons and Guilds and these nice acoustic guitars. But the electric player said, ooh, I can play your guitar. And so over some time, now I see the two talent, playing electric and playing acoustic, is blended. And people play electric guitar with a capo on it. You never used to see that in the 70s. They play acoustic guitar with effects and amplifiers. You didn't see that in the 70s. And the talent, the guitar player, plays acoustic and electric both. He plays them equally. Now there's another big change which we're addressing with the new guitar that we're making. If you think about guitars, it's changed a lot, not just in 50 years, but in 100 years. Because think about before the music was recorded. Before recorded music, you had to go find someone with a guitar and listen to them play. And when they were done playing, the music was gone. You went home and there was no music. One day we had records and you could take the music home. And now recorded music is so important. And because of that, the acoustic guitar right now has had a problem with being able to tune very well with modern recording equipment, modern keyboards that play perfect notes, auto-tune that someone sings through. And so our big challenge is to make the acoustic guitar be have all of the depth and richness of the old vintage, but be perfectly in tune and have very good notes so it can play with modern instruments. And so all of these changes you see as music comes along. And with guitars we're making now, we can actually play with electronic music, vocal correction, auto-tune, these things, because the acoustic guitar absolutely has to improve or it gets left behind. So big changes. It's very true that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, we take trees that Mother Nature gave to us. And in only some cases did people replant trees so that they could grow a long time. People are not keen to plant a tree because it might take 100 years. And so someone says, why should I spend my money to plant a tree? I'll be dead, my children will be dead, and that's a bad investment. But it's an investment to the world, to people, and to your company you may leave behind. So wood from the tropics, and wood even from the temperate zones, the woods like spruces and things like this, we have reached a point where we must plant wood. Now, people always say, can't you use a different wood? Well, I say it's the same circus, just a different tent. Okay? You can't use a different wood because you still have to go where that wood is and take that wood, and where you go do that, it's not a better place. We have no more, we have no country that we're going to discover. There's not an ocean that we're going to cross. This is where we are. This is where we have to make it. So the answer is to plant wood, cultivate wood for the future for guitars. And also, in that process, teach individual people who are consumers what it is how they contribute. Many people think it's the company that's ruining the forest, or it's the logger that's ruining the forest. But every single person goes to the store to buy wood, or sits at a table made of wood, or lives in a house made of wood. So we all contribute. They just supply what we're asking for and we need every day. So what happens, I believe, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I leave more than I take. So with our beautiful ebony project in Cameroon that we do with Mud Inter, we have our company Creely Cam, and this is 6 years of work, the most difficult work of my life. I've never done anything more difficult and more disappointing in a financial sense, because we have to fund money into it all the time. But we are making changes monthly and yearly to get this company to where it can be profitable. Why isn't it profitable now? Because the cost to produce the wood legally, morally, ethically is many times the cost in the traditional fashion. 3 times the cost. People say, if it's done poorly, what does it cost to do it well? Well, I know, it costs 3 times more. And so, but your product, when you're done, is still only worth what it's worth. So we're looking at other things we do to enhance that. I think 3, 4, 5 years from now, it will be profitable with the proper investment and patience. At the same time, we're replanting ebony, not in a little way, in a big way. Not a few trees, a lot of trees, and making a program that can grow and grow and grow to where forever they can perpetuate planting of the ebony trees. We've solved the problem with why does someone not want to put in an ebony tree and wait for 100 years? There are many problems, issues we had to solve to make the answer, yes, I will do that. Part of that is they grow other things with the ebony that give them a return immediately. Part is that we pay them for 5 years to cultivate the ebony for the first 5 years while they're waiting for their other agroforestry projects to do. That's the ebony project. We have another project in Hawaii, growing the koa wood, and now I've just purchased property there, a big piece of property, maybe 220 hectares that I've bought in Hawaii, and that we will plant thousands and maybe 80,000 of koa trees on there. And in 50 years' time from now, this property will give 1,200 cubic meters of koa lumber every year forever. And that's just one small piece of ground. So a lot of what we're doing now, I think in the next 10 years we'll have it completely planted. So I'll be able to have the pleasure of seeing it before I die, right? The other thing that we're doing is we're trying to teach other people who own property or who have money, who have an interest, to grow wood. Well, let me say something. Presidents come, presidents go. Rules come, yes, rules go. But the tree, while all that's happening, is going to grow. We'll put them in the ground and the tree will grow. And then one day the tree will be 50, 60, 100 years old, and we'll say, hey, hello, we're here. And we're making a forest that is sustainable, meaning that the forest never goes away. We only use it as a garden, but the animals can live, the birds can live, the waterfowl can live, so you can be an example. And we don't have to, I really believe that we don't have to be so concerned about our leaders, because why? A revolution, it never starts at the top. Never. It starts at the bottom. So this will be our tree revolution. I say, it's un dicho, you know, I just say, I came for the ebony, but I stay for the people, right? I'm 62 years old now. I know a lot of people who are my age. I can tell you so many of them, they say, my big regret in my life that I'm so sorry about is that I never learned to play a musical instrument. So I could tell you that. Learn when you're young. The other is, when you play music, it helps you in so many ways. It allows you to communicate with people that don't even speak your language. You can sit down and play music together because it's a universal language. It helps you through bad times. It makes good times better. And it's something that you share with other people. You can play music by yourself, but you can play music for other people. It's one of the most beautiful things that make us human, is our ability to play music. And a guitar is one of the most beautiful instruments. Why? Because you can play chords to sing with and express yourself. You can learn to be a virtuoso player to play for other people. You can take the poetry you have inside and put it out to the world with your guitar and your voice and your ideas, and you can take it with you where you go. You don't have to leave it at home. Nobody doesn't like a guitar. Everybody likes a guitar, and you can make friends with guitars.